Hi, Anne here from the Schools Liaison Team in LIT, and welcome to the latest of our online Instagram Q&A sessions. So just to remind you once again that even though our physical campuses are closed in LIT at the moment, we're very much open online and available to answer any questions that students may have about LIT and about our courses over the next couple of weeks as you finalise your CAO choices. So I see there Joe has joined us. So hi Joe, how are you doing?
Good afternoon, Anne, how are you?
Good, good. Getting a chance to enjoy the weather?
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose like everybody else, we'd normally on a bank holiday weekend, everybody be heading towards the beaches and all this sort of stuff. But yeah, getting ready to enjoy the fine weather at least.
Absolutely. It'd be a nice one in the garden for all of us at least anyway.
Yeah.
So Joe, to kick off, just to maybe you could give us a bit of an overview of those two, the Culinary Arts Programme and the Hospitality Supervision, which are both new Level 7 degrees at the Moylish campus in Limerick this year. So perhaps you could tell us a little bit about them?
Well, I suppose our programmes would start with the Culinary programme. So for the first year of the culinary studies, everybody starts on the one level, should we say. I know that one of the questions year on year would be, you know, from culinary applicants, would I need to have home economics as a subject in the Leaving Cert, and would you be disadvantaged by not having it? And we would say no, you wouldn't, because everybody starts on the one level playing field. We start from the basics of the basic principles and theories around culinary arts, apply those in a practical environment in the kitchens. So, you know, that would be kind of where we would start in culinary arts in the first year, studying basic principles and commodities, basic soup, sauces, so on. Obviously, we do a bit of pastry, which is always kind of nice, and there's a big appetite for pastry every year, whereby we'll make, you know, homemade eclairs, donuts, and so on and so forth. So we start with a lot of the basic principles in first year. Obviously, we do the food safety and nutrition, which is a really, really important aspect of the program. We study media communications also, food costing a little bit in the initial stages. So then at the end of first year, for both our hospitality and culinary programs, our guys will go on a work placement also. So that kind of breaks it up, and they get out into industry, get a taste of it. Back into second year then, we do a bit more global cuisines, study in second year, looking at Asia, America, you know, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, they get a real taste of different flavors of the world on the program. Year three, I suppose, on the culinary program, again, it ups a notch with the style of recipes that students would be working at, different modern techniques, you know, a lot of the stuff that you'd see in the high-end 2 Michelin star restaurants. So yeah, they do get a great flavour of the program that way.
Brilliant. And do you have to be very creative to study culinary arts?
Well, I think yes and no. I mean, look, I think the thing is to have a passion for cooking is one of the key things, to like working with food, have an appreciation for products. I mean, we have some fantastic produce in Ireland, and, you know, having that appreciation for local produce, and that's something we would really strive upon here. You know, local commodities, supporting the local growers, you know, and so on and so forth. So no, creativity, yes, would be helpful, yeah, but not a necessity.
So we'll teach you all the skills that you need once you come into us in LIT.
100%, yeah. 100%.
Absolutely. And as you said, I suppose particularly at the moment, supporting local producers and local growers is so important. I think now more so than ever to this industry as well, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I mean, look, you know, obviously supporting the local economy, stopping the global warming, so on and so forth. We want less travel miles in all our food that we get here. That's really what we strive for. So, but yeah, supporting the local economy, key. But as well as that, you get a better produce, you get better product locally. You know, that's it. So.
Of course.
Yeah.
And we'll say with our courses in LIT, obviously something that's very important to us is the practical aspect of every course in LIT, regardless of what a student is studying. How many hours in the programs in your area would students spend in the kitchen on average every week?
So for our culinary program, in year one, it averages about 16 hours per week. Year two, it goes up a little, 18 hours average per week. But what happens in year two for our culinary and our hospitality students, they work together on a Thursday night. So we open up the Taste Restaurant, which I'm sure you can see the name behind me, whereby our hospitality students run the front of house and the culinary students manage the kitchens and stuff. And it gives our students the opportunity to invite in their family or friends, so they can show off what they've learned in the program. Again, back to the hours per week in year two, year two, as I said, averages around 18. For the year three of the culinary program, it drops a bit. It goes down to about 10 hours per week of practical. But again, as I said earlier, it's more high-end or high techniques and stuff like that that we'll be learning. For the hospitality program, our hospitality students, they also spend a little bit of time in the kitchen in year one, because it's important that all of our students have an understanding of food preparation and service, of course. So our hospitality students do 4 hours per week in the first year of the program. They also do food and beverage practicals within year one. So they do about 8 hours per week in year one, food and beverage practical. And again, that's the same in year two. And then in year three of the hospitality program, they do about 5 hours per week hospitality supervision. So practical is a really important part of both programs and the active learning environment that we have in the area. So yeah.
So there'd be a little bit of crossover on content between the hospitality and the culinary arts. Students would savor some of the same modules to a certain extent.
They would, yeah, they would. I mean, they're going to be in contact, I suppose, from the food service practicals for the hospitality guys, and obviously from the kitchen for the culinary students, but also then they sit together for some of the theory subjects, for example, media communications and personal development. And also then for year three, they share contemporary industry developments, which looks at industry trends and what's going on out there, and also marketing and media, which is a really important module nowadays, and all social media, all that sort of stuff. And you'll see it all over Instagram and Snapchat, Twitter, all that sort of stuff of pictures of food and service skills and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, I think chefs have to be business people now as much as everything else. They have to be able to practice that side of things as well.
Yeah.
I suppose, Joe, just going through, looking at some of the questions that we got in from students over the last few days, and I suppose just want to highlight here to anyone who's just joining us now that I'm talking to Joe Mulcahy, who's the section head for the culinary and hospitality section in our Department of Sport, Leisure and Tourism in LIT. So if you have any questions, pop them up on the screen and we'll do our best to get through them over the next little while. So one of the questions that came in was, do I have to buy a uniform, equipment, things like that before I start the course?
In week one of both programs, yeah, students will have to purchase uniforms. For the culinary guys, uniforms, knives and safety shoes. There will be small additional pieces of specialized equipment, which we will let the students on arrival. Culinary guys, within the first week, and hospitality students, culinary guys, the cost would be about €450 for uniforms, knives, safety shoes and books. For our hospitality students, it would be a bit less, about €350 for uniforms, a smaller set of knives, and again, safety shoes and books. Yeah.
And obviously then that's theirs to use over the 3 years then of the course. That's their main expenditure.
Yeah, that's theirs to take away with them, and and use whichever. Yeah, and I mean, generally for the knives, they'll last for, once you look after them, they'll last for quite a number of years. Yeah.
Perfect. And you mentioned work placement there being a part of both courses, Joe, earlier on. How long is the work placement on each course? And do students, I suppose these are questions that we've got in over the last few days, do the students have to find the placement themselves, and is it a paid placement?
So to answer the first question, at the end of year one, for both our culinary and hospitality students, they both can go on a summer work placement. And, over the last number of years, we've had students traveling to Europe, to the US. I think last year we had 6 culinary students in Cape Cod in the US. So, there's a lot of exciting work placements that we have. With regards to payment, yes, generally all of our students are paid. The option to take non-paid placement would be a choice that the student would take rather than we taking it for them. The other question was, do they find their own work placement? In essence, the responsibility eventually lies with the student to secure the work placement, but we have a significant database of employers that we've worked with for quite some number of years, and all of that information will be provided with the students. Generally, we set up interviews for the students with the employer, all that sort of gear. So there's significant supports given to help the students get to work placement. So they needn't worry.
Great stuff. And then at the same time, it's good practice for job hunting when college life finishes up as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, they're going to be about interview skills and stuff like that to help them along as well. So.
Great stuff. So, I mean, obviously that bringing their learning out into the workplace is, it's a fantastic experience to get, and they learn so much that they can bring back to the course as well. Are there opportunities to go on many trips then, maybe kind of class trips and things like that while students are on the course as well?
There are, like generally it's kind of a second year thing where we do the international trips. In first year, we do a lot of local visits. We do a Clare tour or Cork tour, visiting, again, back to the local producers, visiting local hotels and eating in nice restaurants, that sort of stuff. So there are. In year two, then it's generally, as I said, an international trip. Last year, the students went, or this year just gone, the students went to London for a couple of days, visiting, again, an international kind of a catering exhibition. They also visited Claridge's Hotel in London, which is a 5-star hotel. They got to have dinner there, which would normally be very expensive. And as a consequence, actually, of a visit that we went there a couple of years ago, one of our culinary students went back and is now working in Claridge's Hotel. So again, that started his work placement at the time, and he eventually went back working there. So yeah, there's lots of international trips. I think they've been, Barcelona would be another great city we brought students to over the years. Also the south of France as well. So yeah, there are international trips.
Sounds like a fantastic experience. Must try and get on one of those trips myself.
Yeah.
So a question has just popped up on the screen there now, I see, from Daniel, asking how much of the course is assignment based and how much are exams? If you could give us a little bit of information on that.
It would be a lot of continuous assessment. So practicals would play a significant role in it. So we'd be looking at about, from a practical class content is about 60%, theory class 40%. So you'd probably be, I suppose, overall, you'd be looking at about 20% kind of final exams overall in the program. So, but it's a lot of it is continuous assessment based.
So therefore, students that are going to class, handing in assignments on time, putting in the bit of work, the bit of study, they get through just fine.
Yes, that will help, yeah.
Perfect. Question came in as well from Zoe, actually. What maths grades do I need for culinary or hospitality? Are there minimum? Is there a minimum maths grade?
Foundation maths will meet the entry requirements, and a grade of F2 or higher is what's required. So foundation maths, a minimum F2 or higher, and that will suffice to get it. Yeah.
Perfect. That's great. And another question that came in from Joe was: are there good career opportunities for progression for chefs once they finish college?
Yeah, so I suppose firstly with progression, before they leave here, they're going to have the opportunity to go on and further study for a level 8 and Bro programs in the next couple of years. We're going to have a hospitality and resort management level 8, and we're also going to have a culinary entrepreneurship level 8. So they can leave here with a level 8. With regards to career opportunities for culinary, you can go out and you get up to chef de partie level fairly quickly, or indeed sous chef or head chef of a restaurant or a hotel. For our hospitality students, you can get senior supervisor roles within a hotel or a restaurant, and again moving up to like food and beverage manager or indeed general manager of a hotel. So there's significant opportunities, and again locally or internationally. Both of these careers are jobs that you're probably guaranteed 100% employment, and the world is your oyster with regards to travel and progression.
Yeah, it's a real passport to travel, a qualification in either of those areas. So for a student even that wants to either opt out after the level 7 and come back and do the level 8 or continue on, there are great opportunities either way for students then as well. So you've covered a lot of information there in a short space of time for us there as well, Joe. I'm kind of going to put you on the spot a little bit there now, because I suppose it's been a difficult couple of months for the class of 2020, with the way things have gone for the leaving cert and stuff like that. But is there any particular advice you'd give to anybody that's filling out their CAO form now, that's looking to go to college in September? Any pearls of wisdom maybe that you could offer before we finish up?
Okay, I know that the world seems in crisis at the moment, but one guaranteed industry that's bound to bounce back will be the food and tourism industry. People will always want to go away for weekends. People will always eat out. People will always go out for a few drinks. So any of the career opportunities that we're offering here within this section in culinary and hospitality, you will always have work.
Yeah, and it's such an important industry to Ireland, the tourism, the hospitality sector. And it's important, I suppose, for students to remember as well that while things might be quiet at the moment, the world will be very different in 3 years' time when they're coming out of college as well, or 4 years' time, as the case may be.
Exactly.
That's great. That's brilliant. So I suppose it's pretty much covered the culinary and the hospitality area. And I want to say thanks to Joe for joining us today. If you have any questions about either of those courses, and maybe you haven't had a chance to send them in today or you're watching later on, you can email us at schools@lit.ie, or you can log on to our website, and on each course page, including the culinary arts and the hospitality supervision, there's a chance to, there's a little chat button, and you can submit your question. It'll come into the program team, they'll answer the question and send the answer back out to you again. And for anyone maybe that might be watching this and you know somebody that might be interested in either of these courses, this video will be on our Instagram page for the next 24 hours or so, and it'll also be on our website and on our YouTube channel over the next couple of days again as well. So I want to say thanks again to Joe for joining us. I know, is there anything, Joe, you want to finish up with before we sign off? Or are you?
No, I think we've covered everything, and just to wish everybody a nice, happy bank holiday weekend and enjoy the fine weather, and hopefully to see all you potential students here in September.
Brilliant. I've actually now got one quick question that has come up on the screen there just before I let you go. Just how many hours classes a week are in both programs, the hospitality supervision and the culinary arts?
About 25 for the culinary and about 22 for the hospitality.
Perfect. So Daniel, hopefully that answers your question that you've just popped up on the screen there. So I want to say thanks again to Joe for joining us. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you all soon. So take care and have a nice bank holiday weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye, thanks.